Good. All right. Cool. 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 All right. I'm gonna use my evening voice. Welcome to Storyteller's Lounge with NapoRepublic. I'm so happy to see all you beautiful faces out there. Thank you for late showing up, even though some of it was a late request. Um, but you're here. I'm gonna have a good time. So what is this launch about? I'm sure a lot of you have seen my emails and you've just heard about me doing stuff like this. So, over the next hour, all right, at this point it's 54 minutes. I'm going to tell you the reason behind Storytellers Lounge, tell you a little bit about my journey. We'll talk about storytelling as a craft and we'll move on to the community of the Storytellers Lounge with NapoRepublic and how you can get involved, right? Okay, so first things first, the why behind the lounge. All of you know how much I like Bob Marley and his message, um, and and this is literally what it is. Wake up and live your life. This is a song from one of Bob Marley's albums called Survival. And I remember listening to this maybe in 2010, and the song really struck me. Sorry, I'm just admitting more people. The song really struck me, and there was a lyric in there that says, "Life is one big road with lots of signs. Whatever you do, don't you complicate your mind. Free yourself from hate, mischief, and jealousy. Don't bury your thoughts. Put your vision to reality." And I remember hearing that thinking, okay, Bob Marley has told me I need to put my visions out there to reality. Go out and get it, right? And that was just one moment, but in general, I've spent a lot of time creating music, writing books, working on my business. And one of the biggest challenges I know for myself and a lot of people is creating space and time to do these things. We're very busy, we have other responsibilities. So, the big why behind the Storytellers Lounge is to be able to create a community, a space for us to create, for us to be able to be ourselves, live our full lives, bring those ideas that we're sometimes always talking about. Sometimes we don't want to talk about it because we don't want to be too vulnerable, and being able to consistently work on our ideas and bring them to reality. For me personally, I wanted to find a place to build more meaningful relationships and experiences. I've spent a lot of time in the last 3, 4 years sharing my work on social media, LinkedIn, Instagram. And to be honest, it is time consuming and you don't really know who you're actually interacting with. I mean, you see the reactions, the likes, but sometimes it just falls flat. I personally want to connect with more people that are doing similar things, working on interesting problems, and build relationships. And lastly, is doing stuff with people. And I'm very big on this with versus for. Um, I really believe that the, like I say, revolutionary way to build things is with people. Um, Going away from the for mentality of doing things for people. I think we all have agency. When you start doing things for people with, we're kind of putting people in some type of victim mentality that they can't do it for themselves. So for me, I want to work with people, and that means getting support and also giving support on people on a similar journey, on a similar path. All right. So the reason behind Storytellers Lounge is just to create this space so that people like us, multifaceted professionals, entrepreneurs that are interested in several things, but also interested in storytelling, can build healthy practices, um, develop routines, develop your own personal rhythm so that we can tell better stories, we can improve our communication skills, we can gain creative confidence, and most importantly, we can live meaningful lives and we can wake up every day to live fully. So a little bit about myself. Um, Grew up in Nigeria, grew up in Lagos. That's where the hustle spirit is from. Moved to the US in 2003 to study chemical engineering. Finished that, got my master's in chemical engineering. As a Nigerian, just stacking up those degrees so that we can properly funnel ourselves into the corporate system. And I think once I graduated from my master after doing my master's and moved to Austin, Texas, I think there was a sense of, okay, so what's next, right? I've done everything. I've gone to school. I've graduated. Now I'm working, which was fine. I was making money as a young man in Austin. It was very nice, but after a point, it just became very, how do I say, is this all there is to life, basically? And I found myself doing different things. I started drawing while I was in meetings. The meeting was going on. I start like doodling on my in my notes, drawing on cups. What else? I started doing improv, just to explore. So there was this need for me personally, I found, to want to do more than just my profession, right? And when I look at now I'm lucky enough that I can reflect on my life. And when I look back at some of the pivotal moments in my life and the things that shaped me, it goes back to some form of, will I say, failed institutions, right? So growing up in Lagos in 2002, there was the military cantonment, will I say, the barracks that was right next to my house, where they stored all the weapons and the bombs, caught fire. So there were serious bomb explosions. This was in January 2002. January 27th to be precise. I'm sure people in Lagos that grew up in Lagos then know about this. And that was a very disturbing experience for me because I was the only one in the house. I found a way to get out the house to safety. I didn't see my parents till the next day. And when I think back, as for us as, let's say, as Nigerians, we kind of just, see all these traumatic experiences, we just move on. You just had, nobody's there to like give you any form of comfort or anything. It's just like, all right, Nefemi, start going to school again, which is what I did. But when I look back, I was just like, no, nobody explained this process to me, like why this explosion just happened, right? Um, and a lot of people lost their lives that day. And I remember personally thinking there was a point where I literally thought, okay, this is it. This is my last day on this planet. It was good to be here. Moving on. And when I think back, the failure comes from the what I think the governments, right? The people that had this military base that was not secure. So that already started shaping my mind. Like, these people in power are maybe not necessarily looking out for the general population. And sometimes you versus the institution is too big, right? Moving on, moved on to the US, and then you're in Chicago. All of a sudden, I grew up in Nigeria around all Black people, and all of a sudden, my skin color is an issue. Now, race now becomes a thing, something I never thought about for my first 17 years of life. Now that is a thing now, and you see how institutionalized the whole thing is. Then I was like, no, you know what? It's America. Pull yourself up by your bootstraps. You do the right thing. As an immigrant, you live the American dream. And I was doing this. I got my degree. I got my master's. I started working. Not only that, I started traveling for work. Now you're feeling good. You're doing the right things, and I would say, yeah, I traveled as a chemical engineer, going to different manufacturing plants in the US, in Europe, in Canada. And I had another experience in Poland, and some of you might know the story, where I was stopped by immigration in the middle of just as a tourist, stopped by immigration, asked for my passport, which was 2 hours away, locked up for 6 hours until my passport was released. And that again, I came back to the US and I was just like, what the hell just happened, right? And you're just thinking, look, I've done everything. I have I'm a if they want to look at my GPA, that is good. If they want to look at anything, that is good. I've done everything right, but it still seems there's a problem, right? And this is back to this failed institutions. That is another institution that failed me in that moment. And trying to explain these things sometimes it's quite challenging to have these discussions. So for me, I started finding ways to express myself through my music. Started finding ways to express myself through the work I was doing. As I told you, initially as a chemical engineer, I just felt so stifled in what I was doing for some reason. And I'll call it this unexplained needs to do more. And then 2012 came around. I started doing several things. I started making music. I started making beats. I started writing. I started journaling. Um, I started applying to business school. I started my own business. I put up a website. And a lot of this, as I think back, like what happened in 2012? I got my green card. That's what happened, right? So all of a sudden, I'm in the US and I was like, okay, I don't have to just be a chemical engineer. I can do all these other things. And that's what kind of allowed me to express myself. And that's where I started, having this thing called NapoRepublic. And you know about this as a musical or artistic moniker that I use. I think of it more as more of a mindset of just being able to explore, talk about things that I think are not right, talk about things that are right, and just put my views out there. And that's what has helped me make about 4 mixtapes, write 2 books, and help me create my own business. And that mindset is something that I use every time, and I'm hoping I can pass it on to people. Now, let me quickly go into storytelling, right? I think storytelling is a ritual of a hopeful society. The reason why people tell stories and design things is because there's hope, because you think tomorrow can be better than today, right? And that's a big part of why we share stories. We share stories to inspire action, to make emotional connections, and also to activate our, well, I say, our senses, right? It builds empathy, brings, well, I say, resistance and healing, promotes dialogue, and also from a self-awareness point of view, it brings some type of meditative and mental clarifying benefits. So moving on, Storytellers Lounge with NapoRepublic, right? As I said, I'm trying to bring together and be the host of multifaceted professionals and entrepreneurs that want to build habits to live a more meaningful life so that we can consistently, and I mean consistently, bring our ideas to reality. That it could be a book, it could be a blog, it could be a podcast, it could be a graphic novel, it could be your TikTok page, it could be whatever it is. You define whatever stories you want to tell. Because I believe we all have stories to tell. We all want to be able to bring our ideas to reality so they're just not trapped in our minds. I want to live a meaningful and inspiring life that hopefully helps other people. And I've spoken to a few people, interviewed people. I did a survey as far back as 2019 on this same topic. And some of the goals that people have include things that I've listed down here. Some people just want to improve their communication skills, whether it's through writing, speech, or on video. Some people want to commit and follow through on a large body of work. So that could be anything. That could be a book. That could be 12 blog posts. It could be a podcast season. Um, Someone said, I just want to share my experiences so that I can provide guidance and healing for others. As I said, as I just related my story in Nigeria and maybe in Poland, some of these stories, when we share it, it just makes another person that has gone through the experience less lonely, right? So that's another reason why people want to share. Someone said, I want to use writing as a way to distress and discover more about myself, journaling and meditating. I want my stories to be conversation starters, something that can help society reflect on itself. Legacy came up a lot. A lot of people are thinking about legacy. I don't know if it's the stage of life we're in now, but people are thinking about how would they impact the people around them and even how they will be remembered. Someone said, I want to immortalize my thoughts, my words, and my ideas. And lastly, I think the main thing that is that I know personally is writing and making music just gives me some confidence in terms of dealing with uncertainty and moving forward and just knowing that the process is more important than the outputs. So I think the big part of it is gaining more confidence in ourselves, who we are, being our full selves. And some people just say, I just want to be bold and manifest my own lane. So these are some goals and some of the challenges, the main challenges I know people face in writing, putting out creative work is consistency and discipline. That's the biggest one. Fear, self-doubt, judgment, being vulnerable. Um, that's another one. That's a very big factor. Also, just being split between too many interests. That's a problem I have, but I don't really see it as a problem if you can find a way to prioritize. Also, committing to stuff depending on your personality. If you commit to stuff and you feel like you have to follow through, commitment can be very daunting. And the last and most important, not least, time. Time is money. We're all busy. How do I have time to? How will I have time to sit down and write or do anything? So these are some of the main challenges. So I'm going to now quickly just ask a few questions from people in the group and just to hear about some of their goals and their challenges. So I'm just going to quickly go through a few. Let me see who I can call up here. Who is ready? Who is in here? Okay.
Yeah, Mito is here on the move as
Hey,
well.
Mito, how you doing, man?
Not bad, man. I'm just about to step out.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, thanks
Uh,
for sharing your story.
I'm sorry.
I said thanks for sharing your
Oh,
story.
sure.
I know for me for sure. We've been having these conversations for so many months now, and the one thing that I think about, I think legacy was one thing I talked about.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Kind of distressing was one thing for me as well. I also feel like I have so many thoughts that uh, as everyone has different experiences, you feel like, man, I wish someone told me this when I was younger,
Uh-huh.
and you want to share that. Um, and I've seen other people do it in their writing. I've seen you do it, and I really keyed into that with you. And sometimes I wonder, can I do it? You know, can
Yeah.
I do something
Yeah.
similar? And that's where it is for me too. You know,
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
Mm-hmm. I feel you. Thank you for sharing that. And my hope is, we have these conversations, me and you, every time we get time in our busy schedules to catch up. and hopefully, being in the lounge will help us do this more consistently. So yeah, thanks. Let me ask another. Andrew Brate, how you doing?
What's up, my man?
How you doing, man?
Good to be here. Good to
Yep,
be
yep.
here in Southern California at the moment.
I can tell. I could tell. So Andrew, tell me what about you? Do you have like some writing goals, creative goals? I know we've had this conversation and maybe some of the challenges you have faced.
Yeah, I mean, it's always been an outlet for me, but then for a long time, I just ignored it, and things accumulated, I guess. So maybe 6 months ago or so, I started my practice again, and it's been just, um, it opens space, it opens kind of things, not just on its own, but for other things, right?
Mhm.
So, and that's what I needed really, because I realized at some point, pretty much everything I was doing was incremental. It was like the 5%, 2%, just like different from yesterday, from last year. It was like just not finding space to rethink, to design, to be more intentional about how I want to design my life rather than just another 5%, raise.
Yeah.
And that's really what journaling, particularly, like other practices as well, but journaling for me has always been very powerful. I struggle with doing it regularly, so I hope that for you, it's always been helpful, like having those conversations that kind of motivate me to dig in, because it's not easy, honestly. Like I don't find it easy always. There's something I sabotage myself, and then I don't do it, and I don't know exactly what the motivation behind that is. But often I think, like, if I reach clarity, and it does help me reach clarity, but then I have to do something about it, and that's daunting, right?
Yeah.
So that's a thought that
Okay.
I kind of have been entertaining.
For sure. Thank you for sharing that and telling me more about how, journaling. I've been journaling, I think, for about, I didn't realize it though. It was until I wrote press play and I found this box of like all my old journals. And I think I've been journaling for like 7 years or something. But yeah, it's definitely just a way to just clear the mind, for sure. Clear the mind. Let me see, who else can I ask? I wonder if Shewa can jump in with a quick. Um, I don't know if she's connected right now. Shewa, are you there? Nope.
I'm connected. I'm here.
All right, there we go. There we go. What's up?
Try to make it through this work day.
Hey, you're almost there.
We're almost there. Almost there.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for this. Thank you for the invite as well.
I'm sure.
I think for me, it's wanting to be able to get those thoughts out, and then oftentimes when you get those thoughts out on paper, it can become into fruition. So even beyond just the storytelling, but actually putting things down on paper to come into reality. And then, I think I used to write a lot when I was younger and just had kind of lost that for a bit. So would like to be able to get back into that creative space to be able to write again, whether it's music or short stories or whatever the case may be. So for me, it's just to get back into a love that I used to have that, I have not worked with in a while.
Yeah. What would you say like your main challenge would have been? What was that?
Focus and just making time,
Mm-hmm.
So just being intentional about it, focusing some periods of time to say, just sit down and write, like just sit down.
Yeah.
So stillness, maybe that's another way to put it too.
Yeah.
Lots of issues, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, these are some of the issues, like just in general, creating the time, finding a way to focus, even just knowing that you should prioritize this versus some other things. So,
right.
For sure. Thanks, Shell, for sharing.
You're welcome.
Yep. Who else? Lalu, do you want to say anything? I see you there. Can I call on you to share a bit about I know you're right. I know you're right. So if we could tell.
It's good to see some like familiar faces. Man, I just need shit to do outside of work, man, because work just fills up all the time. So if I don't plan to do some other stuff, I'll jump to work it, man. So and that's part of the driver here, right? And man, I think that the sense of fellowship will be big, right? When, like you said, a bunch of folks with similar drivers, right? And I think it's a new opportunity to fellowship, right? That's I think what I'll get out of it more than anything else.
Yeah, for sure. I remember when we spoke, you were telling me about like a blog idea that you were thinking about. Is this something you're I know a lot of people have talked about just doing casual writing, and then there's more of like a format of, okay, I want to write a book, or I want to write these blog series. For you, is it more of just another outlet to keep writing, or are you thinking of also trying to find how your writing can fit into these formats that you can commit to?
No, as far as like the format, the way to even get it out there, I'm confused on that, right? I just know that there are ideas that I like to share, right? And how do you get it out there? That's the question, in a way that is useful, right? And maybe that puts too much pressure on the front end for you to like, okay, get this format right and get the sequencing right. But I think the baby steps is the best I've done, right? I'll just write something on my phone, or like I started a blog in college to like get some of that stuff out, right? And so that still exists. Or when Facebook notes were a thing, you just write something up there and then see how people react to it. But I think that's more of what this is, right? Like just doesn't have to be anything big. And I guess that's what I'm looking to get out of it. And then if we want to become publishers like you, extra income is always.
That would be nice. Thanks for sharing that. I'd love to take more questions, but for some reason, Zoom is telling me I have 8 minutes. So it's all good. Let me just go through the rest of the slides, and we just open up for a few more questions. So getting involved. How do you get involved, right? You can become a member, right? And decide you want to write, join us. We're going to be doing some exercises together. Or if you're saying writing is not your thing, you can also just join and be an ambassador. So an ambassador is someone that just kind of tells other people about Storytellers Lounge. And there's some benefits. If you have you get your own shares, your own link to share. And the more people that join, the more rewards you get, which those rewards will be explained afterwards when we actually understand it some more. So, we would like for you to join. You can first start by just exploring. There'll be questions. I'm going to put out questions, polls, comments. Engaging with other people's work could just be a very easy way for you to just get it going. I'm personally going to be sharing storytelling frameworks and tips, and also trying to get some more experts that will talk about the publishing process. So from writing to editing to cover design to publishing. And then, some of it is also even focusing on you and deciding what type of format you want to do. Do you want to have a blog? Do you want to do podcast episodes? Do you want to write a book, a short story, or a screenplay, or a mixtape? It's all up to you, and part of that is what we're trying to do within the community. Also, a book/podcast club and check-in sessions. So we'll put out some podcast post that we can all listen to, and then we can have like a check-in session to just discuss some of the ideas within the book or podcast. And I think the biggest thing is like interacting with your fellow members. At this point, everything is virtual, but we're hoping that we can get more people and start doing some live events. Now, Storytellers Lounge is now opened. You can join in. I think a few people have already joined in. Let me let my mom in. A few people have joined, and we're going to have monthly themes and weekly activities. So, for instance, this month, as soon as we start, is more about finding purpose and just doing different exercises that can help you clarify your mind. What does legacy mean to you? Then we'll do another month of like just developing your craft, another month about motivation and building habits. So there are going to be these monthly themes. And the activity during the week is just on a Monday, there's a question, everybody can go in and answer. We can have the podcast discussion. And then I'm going to be reaching out to a few people to get some member stories that we can share within the community. So yeah, join us at Storytellers Lounge. You know, it's a 2-week free trial. The reason why there's a payment involved is people pay attention to what they pay for. We're all busy people. It's easy to say we're going to do X, going to do Y, but sometimes we just have to put our money where our mouth is. It's just like I look at it like a gym. You know, you can have a free gym downstairs, but sometimes it's that membership and doing it with friends, going to the gym with the friends actually helps move things forward. But try it out for 2 weeks. If it's for you, please, I would love for you to stay along. And if it's not for you, it's all good. You could cancel before the 14th day. Any questions out there that anybody wants to ask, and I'll do my best to answer as soon as possible. I'm going to drop the link for the community for you to join. And also one more thing, a free giveaway I think we have 15 participants. Wow, that's very good. I have 10 hardcovers of Toffee's Divide that this finally just came out, that I'm going to be giving out to randomly chosen people here on this in this group. And that'll be I'm going to message you and send you a book. And if you join right away, right now, today, I'm working on an NFT project that if you join, you'll be one of the first people to get an airdrop of what I'm working on. So, just some motivation in case you're on the fence to make this happen. But let's go to questions. If you have any questions, please let me know. You can always reach me. You can always send me a message. But anybody have any questions here? Is the community just for writers? No. The community is for anybody that's looking to tell a strong, compelling story. So it could be, hey, I want to improve my storytelling on LinkedIn. It could be, hey, I want to create a blog. Hey, I want to actually do a better landing page for my business, which is all storytelling. It could be for you also. So yeah, not just for writers. So I think there's something for everyone here. So I think Zoom is going to kick us off soon. So thank you very much for joining. I really appreciate your time, and I look forward to seeing you at the Storytellers Lounge with NapoRepublic. Thank you, Andrew, Mansa, Midoa, Ege, Folarin, Rajan, Yemi, Charity, Adebaya, Shewa, Jonathan Kola. My mom is on here too. Tosin, Ayodele. Ayodayo is out there. Everybody, I really, really appreciate all your support every time. And I look forward to you joining us and staying connected and building out this community with me. Thank you very much. All right, take care.